The door locks. Lena's back presses against it. Daniel spins around and freezes. She's wearing Maya's robe. She's standing in Maya's bedroom, and she's smiling like she owns it. "I know what you did," she whispers. His phone. His hands won't move. 3 years of lies. The accident. The money. The name he buried. All of it sitting in her palm like a loaded gun. "One call," she says, stepping closer. That's all it takes. He should scream. He should run. He should call his wife right now and confess everything. Instead, he doesn't move. And Lena smiles wider, because she already knew he wouldn't. "Good," she breathes. "Now we can begin." Daniel Reyes had everything a man his age was supposed to want. A beautiful wife. A sleek apartment in the kind of neighborhood where people jogged at 6 in the morning and said good morning like they meant it. A marketing firm with 12 employees and a client list that kept growing. He had built his life the way a sculptor builds from stone, chip by chip, until nothing ugly showed on the surface. Until the cracks were buried so deep, even he forgot they were there. He had almost convinced himself the cracks didn't exist at all. Maya left for her business trip on a Thursday morning. She kissed him at the door, rolling her suitcase behind her, smelling like the perfume he bought her for their 3rd anniversary. "Lena lands tonight," she said. "Just for 2 weeks. Be nice to her." Daniel smiled. "When am I not nice?" Maya gave him a look. The kind wives give when they love you too much to argue, and then she was gone. He should have felt relieved. Instead, standing in the empty hallway, he felt something he couldn't name. A pull. A low, slow dread that settled in his chest and didn't move. He told himself it was nothing. He was wrong. Lena arrived at 8 that evening with one bag and a look in her eyes that Daniel had never seen directed at him before. Or maybe he had, and he had spent years pretending otherwise. She was Maya's younger sister by 3 years, but she carried herself like someone who had never been younger than anyone. She moved through the apartment quietly, touching things with her fingertips, studying the framed photos on the shelf the way a detective studies a crime scene. "You two look happy," she said, holding a photo of Daniel and Maya at the coast. "We are," Daniel said. Lena set the frame down slowly. "Of course you are." There was nothing wrong with the words. But something about the way she said them made Daniel feel like he'd just agreed to something he didn't understand yet. The first few days were surface-level normal. Lena cooked in the evenings, borrowed Maya's charger, watched television with her feet tucked under her on the couch. But she watched Daniel the way no house guest should ever watch the husband. Not obviously, not rudely, just constantly. Like he was a problem she was quietly solving. He caught her once, standing in the doorway of his home office, just looking at him work. "Can I help you?" he asked. "No," she said, just thinking. She didn't say what about. She didn't have to. By the 5th night, Daniel had started leaving rooms when Lena entered them. He wasn't sure when exactly he started doing it, only that it felt necessary, like standing too close to a fire and finally acknowledging the heat. Then came the night everything changed. Maya called at 9 to say the conference had extended 2 more days. She sounded apologetic. Daniel sounded calm. He sat on the edge of the bed after the call ended and stared at the wall, the phone still warm in his hand. He didn't hear Lena come in. He only knew she was there when the lock clicked. She crossed the room slowly, unhurried, like someone who had rehearsed this walk 1,000 times. She sat on the armchair across from the bed and crossed her legs and looked at him with those dark, patient eyes. 3 years ago, she said quietly, a man named Caleb Morris lost everything. His business, his reputation, his marriage. She paused. "You remember Caleb, don't you, Daniel?" The air left the room. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. His voice was steady. His hands were not. Lena reached into the pocket of Maya's robe and pulled out her phone. She turned the screen toward him. There was a document on it, then a photograph, then a string of messages. Messages with his name, his old email address, and numbers that told a story he had spent 3 years burying. "You redirected his client funds," she said. "You let him take the blame. He lost everything and you walked away clean." She tilted her head. "Almost clean." Daniel stood up. "Where did you get those? Does it matter?" "Lena, one email," she said softly, cutting through him. "To Maya, to your business partners, to the journalist who almost ran the story back then but couldn't find enough proof." She smiled. "I have enough proof." The silence was enormous. "What do you want?" he finally asked. She looked at him for a long moment, something unreadable moving behind her eyes. "Not much," she said. "Not yet. If you're hooked on this story, hit that like button right now, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss how this ends." The request started small. That was how Lena operated. like someone slowly turning up the temperature, degree by degree, until you didn't notice you were boiling. Stay up with her. Watch a film. Sit across from her at the kitchen table at midnight while she drank wine and asked him questions about his childhood, his fears, the version of himself he kept hidden from Maya. He answered, not because he wanted to, but because each time he considered refusing, he saw that phone screen behind his eyes. Do you love her? Lena asked one night, her chin resting on her hand. She's my wife, Daniel said. That's not what I asked. He looked away. Yes. You hesitated. I didn't. Lena smiled and poured more wine. You always hesitate before you lie. The worst part, the part that Daniel could barely look at directly, was that the conversations didn't feel like torture. They felt like something he hadn't had in years. Like being truly, dangerously seen by someone who wasn't flinching at what they found. He told himself it was manipulation. He told himself she was doing it on purpose. Both things were true. Neither thing helped. By the second week, she was asking him to lie to Maya on their daily calls. Small things at first. Tell her I went to bed early. Tell her I'm not drinking. Daniel did it, hating himself each time, the lies stacking up in his chest like stones. Then one evening, Lena looked at him across the kitchen and said, "Tell me what really happened with Caleb." He almost didn't. And then, slowly, he did. All of it. The pressure he'd been under. The desperate choice. The moment he chose himself over someone who trusted him. He had never said any of it out loud before. Not to Maya. Not to anyone. When he finished, Lena was quiet for a long moment. You've been carrying that alone for 3 years, she said. Yes. Did it feel good to say it? No, he said. Then, yes. She nodded like that was the only answer she'd expected. It was the night after that confession that Daniel started to understand he was in serious trouble. Not because of the blackmail. Not because of Maya. But because some traitorous part of him had started looking forward to the evenings. Started listening for Lena's footsteps in the hallway. Started noticing the way she laughed, low and private, like it was meant only for him. He hated himself for it. He couldn't stop it. And then Maya called to say she was coming home a day early. Daniel told Lena. She received the news with a stillness that unsettled him more than anger would have. She can't find anything, he said. We go back to normal. You don't say a word. Normal, Lena repeated, like the word was in a foreign language. Lena, tell me something, she said, turning to face him fully. If I had no proof, if there was nothing to hold over you, would you have talked to me at all? He opened his mouth, closed it. That's what I thought, she said quietly. I didn't blackmail you to destroy you, Daniel. I blackmailed you to make you stay still long enough to see me. The room was very quiet. I've been watching you for 4 years, she continued. Since before you married her. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself you were off limits and I was fine with that. Her voice didn't break, but something behind it did. I wasn't fine with that. Lena, this is... I know what it is, she said. I'm not asking you to leave her. I'm not asking you for anything you haven't already given me. And what have I given you? She looked at him steadily. The truth. Every night for 2 weeks. That's more than you've given Maya in 3 years. He had no answer for that. Because it was true, and they both knew it. When Maya came home the next evening, Daniel stood at the door and watched his wife hug her sister. He watched Lena smile over Maya's shoulder. Warm, easy, the perfect performance. And then Lena looked at him, just for a second, with something in her eyes that was not performance at all. It was a warning. Or maybe it was a promise. He was no longer sure which one frightened him more. The days that followed were the most disorienting of his life. He moved through his marriage like a man walking familiar streets in the dark, everything in its right place, nothing feeling real. Maya was affectionate, relieved to be home, talking about the conference and the colleagues she'd met. Daniel listened and responded and filled all the right silences. Meanwhile, Lena sat across from them at dinner and was perfectly, flawlessly normal. Except for the notes. 3 of them. Slipped under his office door over 4 days. No demands. No threats. Just lines. One was a quote he had mentioned in passing 2 weeks ago. A line from a book he'd loved at 22 that he hadn't thought about in years. She had remembered. The second was a question. Do you think people can choose who they fall for? Or do they just fall? The third was blank except for 2 words. I know. He burned all 3 in the kitchen sink. He didn't sleep. He barely ate. He started making mistakes at work. Missed deadlines, forgotten calls. Because half his mind was always somewhere else. In a kitchen at midnight, across a table from a woman who had taken him apart piece by piece and somehow made him feel more whole than he had in years. On the 12th day, he made a decision. He went to Lena's room. He knocked. She opened the door and looked at him without surprise, like she had been expecting him. "I'm going to tell Maya," he said. "About Caleb. All of it. Before you do." Lena studied him. "And us. There is no us. Daniel. There can't be," he said. "You're her sister. Whatever this was, it's done." She was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded, once, slowly. He thought that was the end of it. He should have known better. He told Maya that evening. All of it. Caleb, the money, the cover-up. Maya went still in the way people go still when the ground disappears beneath them. She didn't cry right away. She just looked at him like she was seeing a stranger wearing her husband's face. "How long?" she whispered. 3 years. The silence that followed was the loudest thing Daniel had ever heard. She asked him to leave for the night. He took his keys and his jacket and walked to the door. And there was Lena, standing in the hallway, watching. "You told her," she said. "I told her." "Why?" He looked at her, really looked at her, and said what he hadn't been able to say for 2 weeks. "Because you were right. I've been living a lie, but I won't start a new one." Something moved across Lena's face. Not victory, not quite grief. Something in between. "You chose her," she said. "I chose the truth," he said. "That's what you wanted, wasn't it? That's what all of this was." She said nothing. He walked past her and out the door. He stood on the pavement in the cool night air and exhaled for what felt like the first time in weeks. He didn't know if Maya would forgive him. He didn't know what happened next. He only knew that somewhere in the middle of being blackmailed, manipulated, and taken apart by a woman he should never have let get close, he had finally stopped lying. He pulled out his phone, stared at it. Then a message arrived. From Lena. One line. "I wasn't trying to take you from her. I was trying to give you back to yourself." He stood there a long time, reading it. Then he put his phone in his pocket and walked back toward the light in the window. The one that meant Maya was still awake, still inside, and maybe, just maybe, still willing to hear the rest of the truth. Some people love you into your best self. Some people love you into your worst. And some, the dangerous ones, love you into the truest version of yourself you've ever been. He still wasn't sure which one Lena was. He wasn't sure he wanted to know. If this story got under your skin, you're not alone. Drop a comment below and tell us. Was Lena the villain, or was she the only honest person in the room? Subscribe so you never miss a story like this, and hit that like button if you made it to the end. We'll see you in the next one.